It is Tuesday morning, March 16th at 11 a.m. Welcome to the Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Difference Makers. It is Tuesday, March 16th, 11 a.m. We've got two good guests coming up today, local business owners, small business owners, entrepreneurs, the people that are making the difference within our communities. I'm excited to have them on. We're going to do a spotlight with our first one. He's someone that I've known for probably 20 years now, close to 20 years. He had already started in the mortgage business. I'd been in just a little bit. We got started at the same company together, worked there for a while, had a good time. And I got out of mortgage, and he has seen it through. He's seen it through the good times, the bad times. And that says a lot about the guy that I'm about to bring on, just the longevity that he's had within this very, very difficult and challenging industry sometimes. So without any more hesitation or delay, I'm going to bring in my good friend, Alan Lester. Good morning, Alan.
Morning. How are you?
I'm good. How bad was my audio? Is it still messing up?
Yeah, it's cracking a little bit. It seems like okay right now.
Oh, okay. All right. So I know it was cracking just a little bit. We've got some. We're trying to figure out the bandwidth on this. It seems to be of course, it's like anything else when we call the software producer, they blame it on something else, and we call the microphone company and they blame it on something else. So we're left to figure it out ourselves. But that's neither here nor there. Hopefully we are all clear now and everybody can hear us. So how's everything going? How's the mortgage industry?
Mortgage industry is crazy right now. So I'm sure if you watched any of the news at all, you'll see that rates are rising steeply, but at the same time the market's still so hot that there just aren't enough homes for everybody to buy. So we've got everybody on waiting list or multiple offers. It's crazy. It's good, but it's crazy.
Yeah, well, it'll come back. It'll come back the way we need it to. And that's what's funny is it is crazy and still good. I remember back in 2008, it was crazy and not so good. So I'm sure this is a little bit better than then. But before we go any further, I want you to introduce yourself to everyone. Tell everybody who Alan Lester is, and then tell a little bit about mortgage. How the business that you currently work for.
Okay. Well, so my name's Alan Lester. I have been a loan officer, and I guess now on paper I'm not really called a branch manager. I'm called a team lead, but I've got a team of 6 loan officers under me and my business partner Randy that we're steadily growing, looking for good quality people. But I've been in the business 20 years, and then I was in banking for 8 years before that doing lending. So I mean, the good thing is,
dude, you're old. I said you're getting old. That's 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, I don't fight that. I mean, I don't try to color the gray. It just is what it is.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, over the 20 years, I mean, I've gone, just like you said, in 2007, 2008, sold everything I had, stuck it out through it, went broke, came back, and it's all hopefully on the uphill now.
Well, and to be able to do that, to be able to have that passion for something, I mean, well, that does show. And I know you and I've had these discussions before. Even after mortgage, we work closely together, helping real estate agents and things like that. But you've really got to love something in order to sell everything you got, suffer through the tough times, and want to stay in there. And I think that you've seen it. You've seen the people that bail out and go back to their regular job, their old job, or whatever it may be. And when you see someone that is stuck within an industry that sometimes is not the easiest to find success in, you have to have a passion for it. Talk a little bit about why mortgage is so important to you, why you love it so much.
Well, I mean, I guess I was always kind of a numbers guy. Being in banking, numbers were my thing. But then when I basically got in through banking, I learned that customer service was really something that I wanted to focus on. But also, once I realized how cool mortgage was, and when you go to closing and you get to see the smile on their faces when they're getting handed their keys. In the end, whether they're a first-time home buyer or regular, that's what it all comes back to, is just the satisfaction knowing that you've helped somebody out that they might not have thought that they could be a homeowner where they are now.
Right. Well, and you don't stay in business that long. 22 years, I guess is what you said. You're not going to stay in business that long if you're not getting some repeat customers. So you're obviously building some really strong and lasting relationships. Would you agree with that? Is that a fair statement?
Definitely. I've gotten a lot better at that the last few years. I mean, through trainings with you, and through some of the classes I've gone through with you, it's made me focus more on the sphere and previous clients, because they're your biggest raving fans, as long as you take care of them while you're helping them, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. And, we've talked about that in some of the classes, that when you're in business, obviously we're trying to, many of us would do it for free if we could, but we can't. We have bills to pay, we have families to feed, and things like that. So there is that aspect of the transaction. We talk about being relational versus transactional, but you have to be both in order to be able to succeed. And when we start talking about building, going beyond just income and trying to build wealth, those relationships become important, because then they become those repeat customers 5, 6, 7, 10 years down the road. And instead of doing 5 deals, 10 deals a month, you're now doing 15 deals a month, because you have people coming back around. So that is important. And that's what's going to lead me to the next thing. I know that we've talked about this. I'm excited to have you on the show and get your perspective. So let's talk about your community. I know I kind of threw this on you right before the show, this question, but how would you, Alan, identify your community as far as who you work for and who you want to help?
Are you meaning company wise, who I work for, or?
No, I mean, you work for Town Square, but I'm talking about the community. Who are you? Who are the people that you need to connect yourself with in order to serve them and to succeed in your business?
Well, I think that's kind of one of the things that you and I've talked about, and where I've started focusing on a little more recently, in that we try to support local. Instead of going to the big chains, and let's just say I'm going to do a happy hour for some agents or first time homebuyer class. We like to go to some of the local restaurants, local places where we can actually have meetings and sit down and talk to them. And I think the biggest piece, I'm in Rockwall. Rockwall's an amazing place, but the biggest thing through what you can do outside of me just talking real estate is going and spotlighting people, meeting the business owners, and realizing that every business owner has employees. Every business owner wants to buy a house, has a refinance, or whatever it might be. So not only, thinking about my business, but seeing what I can do to promote those businesses. So in essence, they're going to think of me and my team first every time.
Absolutely. I know that I'm not gonna mention the community where you currently live, just for privacy concerns, but I know that you have kids. They're getting older. You're getting older. They're getting older. And I know that they were involved in sports and things around the community. Share with us just a little bit. Let's get out of the real estate or the mortgage market, and let's just think about small businesses and the people that you have met within the community, because you've lived there quite a while. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about how important the contributions to those, directly or indirectly, the contributions of those small businesses to those communities, and how that impacted the activities and the lifestyle that your kids had within that community. How important is that?
Well, it's huge. I think the biggest piece of a lot of my friendships that I have here is that I did meet most of them through sports with the kids. And I think that's the one thing that, if you do have children, and I've got 6 of them, there's plenty of opportunity for you to get out and meet people and figure out what they do and figure out what you can do to help them, instead of just always thinking about yourself, because it all comes back around. You pat my back, you're gonna think about me, or whatever that saying is. Pat my back, I pat yours.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's a huge piece in growth in a community, but just getting to know people and making deeper friendships that will, in essence, feed the business down the road.
And let's dig into that just a little bit deeper, because I'm not gonna call out any large corporate names, but that sometimes on our show we talk about the large corporations within our community, which they do play a vital role. I'm not going to say that they're not important. I'm not going to say that they don't contribute. You can go to Walmart and get great pricing on a lot of different items, but at the same time, that local community, that entrepreneur, that small business owner, many times they have your back just a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about mortgage. And, we see this we see these on advertisements all the time on national TV. The spaceship mortgage company. I'll just say it that way. I'm not gonna post a name. But when it comes to helping people within your community, it's more challenging for someone that may be on a telephone in New York, or maybe on a telephone in Florida or in California, that is trying to help you with a mortgage in the community that you particularly live in. Talk a little bit about why that's so important for people to think that way. I'm not saying that you don't eventually maybe go out and get one of those national companies, but how is having a local loan officer, with all the things that can go wrong in buying a home and a mortgage, and they do all the time. And that's what makes, let me just pause right there. What the value in the local small businesses is their ability to fix those problems that are always going to happen regardless of what company it is. And to know that there's sometimes a higher level of accountability for you, because that may be your neighbor. It may be the guy or the wife at the softball game or the baseball game that you're going to go to and you're going to see. So you're going to work a little bit extra hard, because when that deal is done, when that transaction's over, you still got to see them every day. That spaceship mortgage company doesn't have to see you anymore. So if they screw everything up and it becomes a terrible experience, they don't care once it's over. Talk about why that's so important, and how that guides you in what you do as far as your business model.
Well, and that's the one mentality that, when you get in this business, you're kicking and screaming and doing everything you can to find a deal, period. And then, but yeah, then through time, you've established those relationships, and the agents that you work with, they do realize that just being local, knowing that I'm always going to be available, where if you call one of the big ones, a bank or one of those big ones at 8:00 at night, you're probably not going to get anybody on the phone. Where you call me up, text me, whatever, usually up until 10, 11 o'clock at night, I'm available if I need to be, to answer questions. So local is, I feel it's better with restaurants, better with mom and pop shops. We all should support local. And with mortgage being local, it's easy for me to walk in and say, go to an owner and say, hey, here's what we got. Is this workable? And we're not having to waste a few days just to figure an answer out.
Absolutely. Let me look at my questions here. I got another one for you that I looked down. Let's talk now. We've got about 15 minutes left. I want to talk a little bit about what your strategy is, and I know you and I have worked on that together some, and of course you've been doing this forever. So I want to re-emphasize that obviously the strategy you have works because of your longevity in this business, regardless of how challenging it has been at some times. Let's talk about your goal and the strategy for being more impactful within your community, whether it's your local community, whether it's your industry, whether it's the collective industry or the real estate industry and all the support people that go in that. What do you do, Alan? What's your, if you don't mind sharing, your strategy or your secret in building these relationships with other business owners so that you bring value to them, maybe not only within mortgage, but with that outside of mortgage? And what would your suggestion be to all of these small businesses and how they could help support each other?
Okay. Well, my plan, and we're just now starting this, would be to start with, when I have the shows, would be to, spotlight one or two small businesses on each show. And the biggest piece for that is, let's just say I've got two business owners on at the same time, or, back to back, of course. Each one of them is going to share with their sphere, with their clientele, the show. And at the same time, so what it's going to do, it's going to help the whole community be able to know these two people where they might have only known one business, and then we can all communicate together and help grow their businesses just through word of mouth, where clients. I mean, because with every city in Texas, every single day there's new people moving into the area, and they might not know local. So if we're spotlighting them and showing people this is why you should go to or work with this company, it's going to be easier for all of them to grow along with me, and all of us to grow at the same time.
That's a great point. I didn't really think about that, but when we have people, and everybody knows that there's a big influx of people moving into Texas, because it is so business friendly. But when you move in, if you don't know anybody, who do you reach out to? And I think that for some people, let's say you're moving from California or you're moving from New York or wherever it may be, one of these states, you're coming in here and you're needing a certain service. Well, it may be easier for you in the beginning to think nationally as some of those national banks, national lenders, whatever it may be, because you don't know the people. And so I think that that's another component that we need to remind ourselves of what we're trying to do with the difference makers, is to bring more visibility out so that these people will get to know the people in their community as fast as they possibly can. I think that's tremendous. The other thing that we talk about, Alan, is and everybody knows this, but you do business with people you know, like, and trust. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, even though we're in communities, and sometimes our communities are larger than others, it is hard sometimes to get to know people. Small businesses, especially, our networks are being saturated with national advertising and marketing and things like that. For the small business owner, number one, budget. Number two, understanding marketing. Sometimes it's hard to get the message out that we need to bring awareness to our brand, and then to deliver the message so that people do find some sort of curiosity about who we are and give us an opportunity to develop that know, like, and trust factor. And I know we're going to be doing that with your segment on the show that we're going to be doing each month. Talk about that. Talk about what you hope to see when you bring on, say, maybe it's a restaurant owner from your community, or maybe it's someone within the real estate industry. What are you hoping you can help them do when they're on your show?
Well, I mean, I guess with a restaurant would be, probably a couple of the restaurants that I would talk to, they do already have a large following. So if I share it on all my social media channels, the large following, let him spotlight his business and talk about, hey, this is why you should come. Then in essence, if he gains one more client, it's perfect, because it's a client he didn't have. And
right.
The power of social media these days, it's amazing at how somebody's business can grow just by getting on and showcasing and talking about what they do. But I think, what is it, the one saying, people forget what you do every 7 days. So yeah. I think if you're online or if you're on your social media, hey, I'm in mortgage. Mortgage is pretty boring, in terms of your normal everyday person. They talk about their mortgage just when they refinance or just when they purchase, usually. Other than that, right, they don't know anything about it. But so not coming on and talking about my business, but helping other people grow their business will in turn come back to me.
I agree 100%. And that's really what we want to be able to do is help all of the small businesses uh, garner some attention. One of the things that I've studied and really got me into the social media aspect of this was, most businesses don't struggle or fail because they have a bad product or service. Most of us are pretty darn good at what we do. Where we struggle is that not enough people know what we do or how
Exactly.
good we are at it. And, many times, like you said, whether it's mortgage, whether it's insurance, I pick on insurance all the time. Um, you're right. We don't think about it. That's not something we want to learn about, really. We don't want to become educated on it. We just want to know that we trust somebody to take care of that particular aspect of our life when it's needed. So many times it's hard to create some interest in just talking about what we do as a business person, right? So being able to connect with these other businesses and what our goal with the difference makers is and what our goal with your show is going to be is we want to humanize our brand, not commercialize it. The other thing that's such a challenge for so many people is you are an expert in mortgages. Would you agree that you're not an expert in marketing?
Oh, 100%.
And there's nothing to be ashamed of. Your job is to do really good in mortgages. Unfortunately, we all have to be we have to have some skills in a lot of different things when we're independent and working for ourselves. But taking the time to become highly educated in a particular area sometimes is very difficult. We can outsource, we can do different things. So what we're trying to do with your show is we're trying to help people understand that when we are competing on with global national companies, big corporations, if we mimic their marketing strategies, we're going to fail every time, because I am not Walmart. I'm not Home Depot. I'm not Lowe's. I'm not the big box stores. And they can beat me just simply by money and saturation in the market. So I have to be more clever with what I'm doing. And part of that is humanizing my brand. People are going in my community are going to shop with me, buy from me, hire me because I'm one of them, and they like me. They enjoy being around me. We have commonality, things like that. And so what we're trying to do is form these networks of people that you're going to be heading up to help them do that as well. And to push this out. I said, I think I said this before the show, but we had over 500,000 viewers on our shows last year. And that's before we really even knew what we were doing. We knew the power of the internet, like you said, Alan, the power of social media, but we didn't really understand how big it could be. And as we've learned so much this last year, that's why we have created the Difference Makers show, and why we are going to be pushing this out and helping all small businesses within our community. I want to give you, we've got about 6 minutes left. I want to give you a chance to talk a little bit more about you. Talk a little bit. I know you mentioned one thing I wanted to touch on. I took a note, but you said that our mortgage rates starting to rise a little bit now. I haven't been paying attention to that. Is that what's happening?
They are. Yeah. I think since December, they've gone up 3/4 of a point. I mean, not 3/4, maybe a half to 3/4 of a point on certain loan programs. So yeah, with talks of, the market opening back up with the coronavirus, with all the vaccines, with the stimulus, it's definitely made rates rise. And in essence, home values are rising as well. It's crazy.
Okay. All right. Well, tell everybody, I know I've got your name. I didn't get your information as far as contact information, but if you'll tell everybody how to get in touch with you, if they're looking for a mortgage, if it's someone out there, what's a good referral partner? Let's do that first. What's a good referral partner for you, Alan?
I mean, the majority of my clients, well, I'm getting a lot more referral partners, which are my past clients. And that's through some of the growth that you created with me over the last couple of years in making it more relational instead of transactional. My first 10 years in the business, it was just a loan. I was just trying to make a paycheck, where then you get to know people, you spend more time with them, and they're referring all their family members. So this last year, my previous clients were great referral partners, but 95% of my business comes from real estate agents and a couple financial planners. And that's the advantage of getting out and creating these relationships, is that your real estate agent partners, they're going to be the ones to talk you up and brag about you and say, this is why you use local. You know, if they've got a competitive, so right now with the market, almost every single deal is ending up in a multiple offer situation. So the advantage of having me, I'll pick up the phone, I'll call the listing agent and talk about how strong this client is, or, you know, why they should have this house, to try to help win that, where you're not going to get that with a big box lender. So,
Right. That's true.
But real estate agents, financial planners, and past clients are my biggest my referral partners.
All right. And tell everybody how to get in touch with you.
Okay. So, and I'm obviously going to be posting this video for people to see, but I'm at A Lester at tsmlending.com. So TSM stands for Town Square Mortgage. And then my phone number is 214-681-0234. I'd love to help, spend a few minutes with you on the phone and see if anything, if it makes sense. So the big thing you'll find with me is I'm not a hard sales guy. You know, if I can help you, great. If not, I'll tell you you've got a great deal. And in essence, you'll appreciate that more than me trying to push you into something that you don't belong in.
Absolutely. Well, Alan, I'm going to bring in, before you get off of here, I'm going to bring in Rachel Wilson. She's going to be our next co-host for the next 30 minutes. She's got a guest coming up as well. This is Rachel's first show as well, so we're excited to bring her on. Before I bring her in, I want to remind you, Alan, if you will, when your segment is done, if you'll go into the comments section here and put your contact information, that will be out there for everybody that's watching now or later. So just remember to do that if you would. And I want to bring in now and introduce Rachel Wilson. No relation, great last name, but no relation, right?
Right. Although I do have an uncle named Wilson.
Yes, I forgot. You told me that. That's crazy. That is crazy. Well, I want to introduce you to Rachel. I want to introduce you to Alan Lester, a longtime friend of mine. He's in the mortgage business. Rachel does social media management, and I'm going to let her tell more about that here in just a few minutes. But I did want to introduce you guys before Alan checks out today, and so you guys can talk later, because y'all are both kind of connected within the same industry and realm, and you may be able to point each other in a good direction that can help you both out.
Yeah, good networking opportunity.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you, Alan. I'll grab your information from the comments, and I'll send you an email.
Likewise.
Well, Alan, do you have anything else to say to everybody watching before you go today?
I don't. I mean, it was fun, the maiden voyage. So hopefully the new one's coming up will be even more fun.
It is. Yeah, we're going to have a good time with this. I'm excited. About here's the thing that I want people to understand, especially the people, Rachel, you and Alan, we did over 300 shows last year. We had over 500,000 viewers. I met over 600 business owners last year myself. And it is incredible what you learn about people just on a 30-minute show or an hour show or a 20-minute segment, and the power of those people and who they're connected with. There's some great stories. So I'm excited to be able to share that strategy with both of you, because it is going to help, your business grow. I only have this, right? So this is what I do, but I see all of these people. And a lot of times when I'm listening to them, I'm like, man, that person needs to meet Alan Lester. That person needs to meet Rachel Wilson. The power of those connections out there is just, it's phenomenal. So I can't wait to get your shows up and going and make that happen. But Alan, we're about out of time for you today. Tell everybody one more time how to reach you, and then we're going to see you again next month.
All right. My phone number is 214-681-0234. And you can also email me at alester@tsmlending.com. Have a great day, guys.
Yep. Have a good day, Alan. Thanks for being on. And don't forget to put that contact information in the comments.
I'll do it now. Bye, guys.
All right. See you later. Rachel, welcome
Hi. Thank
to
you.
the Difference Makers. How are you doing?
Doing great today. How are you?
I'm doing well. I want to give everybody a little bit of background. You and I originally met on, you were a guest on a show sometimes last year. I believe it was last summer, right?
Yeah, I think it was last summer. Yeah.
Okay. So I want you to tell everybody who Rachel is and a little bit about your business.
Yeah. So my name's Rachel Wilson. I live over here in the Grapevine area. My sister Nicole and I run a marketing agency, mostly focused in the real estate niche. So mostly working with realtors, brokers, kind of helping them not just bring leads in, but actually convert leads and have a system to support their own growth. So we work pretty much exclusively with real estate agents, and we've been doing that for about 2 years now, I think, coming up on 2 years. So that's kind of what we do.
That is awesome. So before we get too deep into this, I want you to just talk about the power of social media, because it's, when you're involved in it, when you study it, when you're participating in it, when you're studying the people that have had success, it's like anything else. We start to take it for granted a little bit. And we start to think that everybody knows the power, everybody knows the opportunity, everybody knows how to use this to maximize their exposure and their brand development. But that's just not the case, is it? A lot of people still don't grasp the power of social media. I want you to, if you would, talk about that just a little bit, about what you've learned over the years and how it really does level the playing field for small business owners to compete with a lot of those big budget advertisers.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great point too. There's so much power in social media that I think sometimes people don't realize what they could really do with themselves, their business, their message, supporting their clients if they were to utilize social media a little bit more. Over the past year, obviously we've had the craziest year that we could imagine. But what we noticed was there's a very big shift, especially in real estate, right? Because that's what we focus on, is that a lot of realtors stopped marketing during COVID because of, there's just a lot of fear around, money, finances, making the right decisions for your business. But what we noticed is that the clients that pivoted with the market, right, didn't shut down their marketing and actually continued to market. There's actually a really great book about this called Rock the Recession. He talks about why it's so important that during a recession or during difficult times, it's even more essential to use marketing. And the reason being is because all the competition stops marketing. So the ones that continue marketing, especially through social media, are the ones that are able to really ride that wave and come out successful. And social media in general is just huge for that, especially because of this transition of everybody's working remote, everybody's at home. The number of people on Facebook all day is insane. If it was crazy before, it's even more now. And we really kind of just shifted the world to more digital, right? All the people that used to work in offices are able to do exactly what they do from home. People are able to start like side hustles, and really just pursue their passions. And social media is a really great platform to really not just get your message out there, but to connect with people. For us personally, we run a Facebook group that's exclusive for realtors, where we give marketing tips and advice, and just it's a way for us to connect with our audience and provide them with value. And all of that is possible because of social media.
Right. So let me ask this, as a marketing professional, and with your experience of working with independent contractors, small business owners, entrepreneurs, many of us, and I include myself because I made this mistake so often early on in my entrepreneurial career. Many of us only market and advertise when times are slow. Tell me what kind of mistake that is to have that viewpoint.
It's a huge one, especially in real estate or any small business. Real estate obviously kind of comes in waves, and there's a concept of prospecting, right, where the people that you speak to now are the people that pay you 30, 60, 90, 120 days from now. And in order to have a consistently full pipeline, you need to be consistently bringing leads in and having that that pipeline full. If you take breaks or stop marketing for a while, I end up seeing a lot of realtors do this where they have a full pipeline and then they stop marketing. And then all of a sudden, 3 months later, they don't have anybody in the pipeline and they're scrambling. The key is honestly consistency and having a system that works and supports you. Otherwise, you're really just doing that whole roller coaster thing, and that's not what we want. We want a steady growth.
Right. So let's go a little deeper in here. I've got you, I've got you now right where I want you, because I love talking about this stuff because it's fascinating to me. Let's talk about time commitment to marketing. Okay. So for a lot of us, whether you're in the real estate industry or you're in plumbing or you're in electricity, a lot of us are also, not only are the business owner, but we're also the employee, right? So we have to be out on the calls and we have to be doing all of the work that has to be done. So it's easy to say sometimes, I'm just going to put the marketing aspect on the back burner. It takes so much time, and that time is not producing money for me today. And that's the way, honestly, it used to be. I mean, It used to be where everything that in marketing you did was either very costly or you had to do it all manually. Let's talk a little bit about the time management, the time commitment now with social media, and how much that you can scale that time commitment back.
Yeah, so there's a lot of ways you can scale that time commitment back. And I tell all of our clients, that's what we are here for, is at the end of the day, yes, you are the business owner, you're the CEO, you're also the employee, you're also the marketer, you're all of the hats, right? But what we want to do is create these strategic partnerships where, I can help you with the marketing, you can focus on the things that you do best in your business. And it's kind of like, for most small business owners, ourselves included, we always start at a level of like doing everything yourself, DIY mindset. I have to do everything. And then eventually you get to this point where you want to kind of shift more to being the CEO of your business. And in order to be the CEO, you have to be able to delegate, outsource, hire out certain aspects that you don't necessarily need to be focusing on. So the biggest thing is marketing for that case, right? Most people try to DIY marketing and then they're like, oh, it's too much work, or I'm not getting any success with it. And I at the end of the day, I tell them that's because you're not a marketer. You need a partner that can do all of this stuff for you, buy your time back, and actually give you a return on investment as well. Everything you invest into your business needs to have a clear return on investment. And that's what marketing does. Marketing is investing into something and into yourself, into your business, with the clear potential for a return on investment. So it's bringing you money and saving you time.
Right. So, and I want you just touched on something there about you're not a marketer when you're talking to that business owner. It's kind of like what I was saying to Alan before. Most of us are really good at the skill that is required to do our job. We're not very good at all the other hats that we have to wear until we get to a certain level and we can delegate. So let's talk about that learning curve to be, I think for me, I'm going to speak from my experiences as I started through the entrepreneurial world. I thought I could do it all. I thought that I was capable, I was talented, and I would learn it all. I would become an expert at each aspect of it. And that was the most naive thinking that I think I could ever possibly have, because the training, the education that you have to put yourself through to even be decent at all those other things, that cost a lot of money. What I didn't realize is I'm losing money taking time to learn, when if I just paid that money to someone that I could trust, my return on investment is going to be quicker. And I'm not going to lose nearly as much money trying to figure out how to do this even efficiently or effectively. Talk a little bit about the value that you bring and being able to eliminate the learning curve, not just the cost.
Yeah, it's honestly very important, especially when it comes to social media marketing, advertising. There is such a huge learning curve, and the rules are always kind of changing. So you have to stay up to date with it, especially in real estate. The policies are always changing on Facebook. There's just a lot of barriers that can make learning it very difficult. Or, you end up spending a lot of time learning it or doing it yourself, but not doing it correctly to where you're actually getting a return. So really, the learning curve is huge for all of this stuff. And it's really just important to find somebody, like you said, that you can trust, that you know is going to be a good partner, because at the end of the day, marketers should be your partner, not just somebody you hire and then forget about, right? It needs to be a strategic partnership, because we all win whenever we're both being successful and communicative. Very important. But that learning curve is something that all the time that you spend trying to learn Facebook ads, for example, we'll throw that out there, could have been used closing deals or doing the service that you're actually providing. Because at the end of the day, like, your business is moving forward whenever you're doing the things that create your business, like your service, whether it's, buying, selling homes, showing houses, whatever it might be. And all of that time needs to be focused towards those things. Those are what we call RGAs, so like revenue generating activities. Whereas a lot of realtors, at least in my experience, they get very caught up trying to also do the marketing and also post on social media and advertise, and they end up losing money that they could have been making with clients. And so it's a learning curve, yes, for time as well as money.
Right. And if we're going to sacrifice anything, most of the time, it's going to be that marketing and advertising aspect. That's kind of what you talked about, going into that roller coaster, the up and down.
Exactly.
And I remember doing that. I remember having such a full pipeline and thinking, man, this is awesome. And then you take care of all of them, you serve them all, you did a really good job, and then you look up and you got nothing. And now you've got to rebuild that pipeline again. And it's stressful to feast. It's feast or famine. These 3 months are great. These next 3 months are not. And it does come down. And I realized real quick, where are my inconsistencies creating this inconsistency in revenue? And it was always marketing and advertising. Always. That's the one thing I gave up first so that I could take care of my business. And that was the one thing that had produced all of those people that I was taking care of right now in the first place. So I do think that it's critical. I'm excited to have you as part of the difference makers, because I think you're going to be able to bring the knowledge, the wisdom, share some anecdotes with people on how this is going to be able to help them. Before we introduce your guests, we got a few minutes left before we bring Miss Sima on. I want you to talk a little bit about the community you're hoping to serve with your show. Okay, it's a little bit different outside of what you're doing with your business, but who are you wanting to help by using your show, and how are you wanting to help them?
So one of the main things that I would like to do with this show is really just showcase people that are doing something different, something unique, bringing something new to the table, which is actually why I invited Sima. Is she focuses a lot in women empowerment and motivation. And I think those types of people are who I vibe with the most, right? I'm more attracted to people like that because they're similar to me. So for this show, yes, I would like to be able to showcase people that are doing something unique, a little bit different, thinking outside of the box. And then, of course, it's all relational at the end of the day. Everything in business and friendship even is relational focused. And I think that's very important.
Absolutely. You said something that I vibe with those people just like that. I love being around people that are looking for ways to gain an edge.
Yes.
That inspires me. It helps with my own creativity. I'm not smart enough to sit here and think of these things by myself. Plus, when you're in a bubble all the time, you can only think so far, right? So you have to see vision from other people. And I love, and that's one of the things I was telling you and Alan before, that has been so great about this show, the fact that I get to speak to so many people, and every time without fail, I'm going to learn something, and I'm going to have another tool for my toolbox to try to improve, whether it's personally or professionally, and to grow. And that just, it makes every day for me a lot more enjoyable than the struggle, because that inspiration gives you hope. And so some days as an entrepreneur, and if you're an entrepreneur, if you've ever been an entrepreneur, you know that there are challenging days, and usually you're going to have at least a challenging hour in every day. And it's these things that I'm learning from all of these people that come on the show that just, I don't know, it gives me so much of a fire, so much of a passion. And it's like, okay, this is tough, but I listened to 600 people last year talk about the tough times that they got over, so I can handle this and I can make it. Maybe, use a nugget that they gave me to get past that. But that's enough about that. I want you now to introduce your friend and your guests, and then we're going to bring her in and get this conversation started with her. Let people get to know who she is.
Yeah, so my guest for the show today is Saima. She is a realtor broker over in like Plano, Frisco, McKinney, that kind of area, Dallas area. But what really inspires me about her is she also runs a podcast, Heart to Heart. So it's not, she's a realtor, but she also does all this other stuff, and she's involved in a nonprofit, really focuses on women empowerment, which is huge and something that really inspires me because my sister and I, we run a women-owned and operated business right now, and that's very rare for the digital marketing space. I'll tell you that right now. So it's very unique, and I love what she brings to the table. So I'm really excited to have her on.
All right, well, let's bring her in now.
Hi.
Hey,
Hello,
Rachel.
Saima.
Hey, London. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great.
good.
Thank you for having me on your show. And Rachel, I'm so honored that I'm your first guest.
Yes, I'm so excited that you were able to join us.
Thank you. Yeah, it's wonderful to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you. Not your first time to be on The Difference. You've been on here several times, and I agree with you, Rachel. Saima is a difference maker. She has that vision. And one thing that I learned about Saima early on when I first met her is she studies people. And that's thrilling for me because, she started throwing out some names of people that she follows and that, she seeks inspiration and creativity from and guidance from. And, sometimes it may not be people that we've met personally. It may be a professional that actually can do their process on social media, so for all of us to see, right? And Saima does that. She follows that. She's a great student of those people, and I think what she's doing with her podcast as well, and the empowering of women. I'm excited to have her as your first guest today. Saima, before we get going too much further, I want you to introduce yourself, talk a little bit about what you do in the real estate realm, and then also share a little bit about your podcast.
Absolutely. So, Saima Dillon. I've been a realtor for over 16 years, and real estate is not an easy profession. Any sales job where your livelihood is dependent on commission is not an easy place to be in, and it's definitely not easy to make it through those 16 years without lots and lots of highs and lows, and learning key survival skills to make yourself come out of the low moments. And how about I read my mission statement to you? That will, I think, tell people a lot about who I am. My mission statement is let's touch lives together, one person at a time. I'm a realtor by choice and a humanitarian at heart. My podcast, Heart to Heart with Saima, is my soundboard. I'm a warrior. I'm a non-conformist, an ordinary person hoping to do extraordinary things. And that's my motto of my life. And every single day, that's what I strive to do. Just a student for life. I am constantly learning from people. Like I said, I am a humanitarian at heart. So that right there, for me, this whole world is mine. And, that's kind of where I am.
All right. I've got several questions I want to talk to you about, and you kind of, you set me up for that. That's really good. But before we get going with that, I want you to talk just a little bit about, one of the things that we're focusing on with The Difference and the Difference Makers is our communities and how we are integrating, interacting, and engaging with our communities, and how the small businesses if we all learn to really get to know each other and work together, the power that we would have as a community, small business community within our communities. Talk a little bit about the empowering of women. Talk a little bit about your podcast and how what your vision is for that to become over the next 2 to 5 years.
So I do have a vision. I started, I've been learning for the past almost since 2016. We took a huge business hit. My husband lost his business, and that right there was a turning point where, my whole life went upside down, and not just mine, but my whole family's, and we were all thrown into this chaos. And I started educating myself. I started learning, growing. But 6 months back, when COVID happened, I got confined to the house, and it was that time where I started executing everything that I had been learning. And at that point, I made a plan for 6 months, 2 years, and a 5-year goal. I don't even say this jokingly, but I want to be my own version of Gary Vee one day. And that's what I'm striving towards. And again, not anyone else. I am someone who cannot be anyone else. I have to be very unapologetically me. I have to be very authentic. So I'm just following my own passion. I'm following my heart. So the Women Empowerment Group is something which was launched almost, it will be 5 years in May. So it was launched 5 years ago. We have around 2,600 women on the group. And the sole purpose, I'm a very empowering woman. I am a very strong woman. And I think I'm originally from Pakistan. I came to and studied at UT Arlington. I came here as a student, and I am very fortunate that that's what my parents instilled in me. They instilled in me, that we are all humans. And, if I set my mind to something, there is basically nothing there that can stop me except myself. So having said that, the Women Empowerment Group, the focus has been diversity, inclusion, outreach, empowerment, and around 60%, 60 to 65% of the women on the group are Dallas based, and the rest are from all over the world. So it is a diversified group. I feel that there are a lot of stereotypes out there. And for me, I've never been within those stereotypes. I've never followed wherever the crowd is going. I will just automatically go the different way. So I'm always ready to explore, learn. And so that's what the empowerment group has been about. It has been about encouraging women to be themselves, to accept the fact that we are all created by the same creator, whoever that creator might be, and we actually are more aligned versus being different. So we, just from a humanitarian perspective, there are more similarities between people, and that's what the Women Empowerment Group has been about. It is about, breaking stereotypes, putting yourself out there. We are created to be who we are, and that's who we need to be, instead of trying to become, a product of our environment, a product of what other people's expectations from us are. We be authentic, and we follow our heart, and we follow our passion, and we put goodness out there. And whatever I believe, I'm a very firm believer that whatever it is I put out there is exactly what's going to come back to me. So if I want goodness, I need to start putting goodness out there. So that is exactly what the world gives back to me, what the universe brings back for me. So that's what the empowerment group is about. And then when it comes to my podcast, Heart to Heart with Saima, it was, it was a point where, okay, being a realtor, it should be about real estate. And I'm like, no, it cannot be about it. It was a battle between my mind and my heart. And it was like, okay, you know what, I just gotta follow my passion. And my passion is about, showcasing what people are doing, the good that they are sending into the world, to showcase whatever I can do, which can help even one life. So that's what
Right.
my tagline is: touching lives. Having people come on my show where we can utilize their skills and touch lives in any way. So I will complete 1 year end of April since I've been, since I launched my show. And Landon and Rachel, I can't even begin to tell you how my show has changed my life, and how my show has just been redefining me and how I view things. And the best thing that my show has taught me is that all these things that I grew up with thinking that, based on the color of our skin or based on our different cultures or religions, that we are all so different. But doing this show and bringing people on my show from all over the world, I have Switzerland, from Australia, from, all different walks of life, to what connectivity I was able to create. It just literally brought me to such a humbling point that, goodness, we're all actually so much similar
We are.
than different.
Yep. When you take politics and a media that thrives on controversy out of the mix, every one of us want the same things. We want peace and we want prosperity. That's
Absolutely. And we want happiness.
And yeah, that's it. I mean, it's easy to get along when we don't have people chirping in our ear telling us we shouldn't get along. And it's easy to get along and not think about our differences when we're just communicating with each other and realizing that person has a family like me. That person wants to make sure their kids are taken care of just like I do. That person has a job or a responsibility, and they enjoy serving their community just like I do. And we're not enemies on this planet with each other until we're told that we have to be. And so I think I love what you're doing. I think that's awesome. I also love the fact that, you mentioned that you're a real estate agent, but you're a humanitarian, sort of. So I guess you're like the humanitarian real estate agent, right? That can be your moniker. One of the things, Simon, that we are doing with the difference makers, and I want to get your opinion on this because I see you doing it already. I want to help the small business owners in our communities to understand that it is vital for them to humanize their brand, not commercialize it. And when I'm saying that, what I'm talking about is exactly what you said. You can be a real estate agent or you can be a humanitarian. You want to be a humanitarian first, and then you're a humanitarian that happens to do real estate. Absolutely. And when I connect with you on that human level, I'm much more likely to become more interested in what you do for a living and want to do business with you than if I only knew that you were just a real estate agent trying to sell me all the time. Would you agree with that?
Let me say something right there, Lando. So I don't consider myself a salesperson, and I'm not a salesperson. I cannot become a salesperson. What I am here to do is, whether it's real estate, whether it's my podcast, whether it's, no matter what it is that I'm involved in, I simply want to touch lives. I want this to be my legacy, not only to my daughters, but once we die and we are no longer in this world, it literally takes people, these are statistics, that it takes around 3 years for people to forget about how successful you were, or, how wealthy you were, or what kind of house you lived in, or what your lifestyle was. That's it. But you know what? When you go out there and you touch lives and you touch people and you make them feel that that they matter, and your words or your actions, something about you has an impact on their lifestyle or livelihood or children or family, that right there is a feeling that they will carry with them for the rest of their life. Not a big thing, just something extremely small. And Rachel is on my women empowerment group, so she might have seen this. But I had this woman, she's on the women empowerment group, and she had messaged me a few days back, and she was like, okay, you know what? My husband is asking me for a divorce, and I'm looking for some lawyers, and he's forcing me to sign documents, and I'm so lost. I have 3 little children. I don't know what to do. And she messaged me at around 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, and then I messaged her back, and I asked her, can I post this on the women empowerment group? Let other women share their experiences and show you what give you some suggestions and advice. But more than anything, all I did on my part was just tell her that, you know what, it's okay. Just be strong, just focus, and you know what, this too shall pass. And that was it. And she messaged me again at like 11 in the night, and she was like, I don't know who to contact. I'm so lost. I feel so devastated right now. And I was sleeping, and then around midnight, I just woke up and I saw the message, and I just started responding to her right then and there, and started connecting her with different people, who could help her here or there. Real estate wise, lender, whatever, income wise, business wise, whatever it is destined for it to come my way, it will come my way. I don't think anyone can stop it.
Right.
But that little time that I spent with this woman, and if I was in any way a catalyst in changing or helping her with her journey, transitioning from where she is now to a better future, I touched her life in a way, for me, that is right there, extremely profound. That right there for me is what matters. Is I don't care about her religion. I don't care where she's coming from. I don't care what her beliefs are. What mattered was, what can I do? And whatever was in my capacity, and it didn't take a whole lot, but that matters to me. So real estate wise, I'm not a salesperson. I believe in touching lives. And even for my clients, this is who I am. I build relationships, and I have clients who have been in my life, have become friends, and their families have become my friends. And, like right now, I'm working on a transaction where I worked with my client. I've been working for the past 5 years. They're investors, and I've been helping them build wealth, build their portfolio. And now I worked with his brother-in-law last month. I've worked with, the nephews. I worked with the son. So all this is like happening within the past few months. And again, the intention is not based on, okay, you know what, what money is at stake for me, but the intention is to help touch their lives, to help them build their portfolios, to help them build their wealth, to help them build retirement income, a steady set of income, passive income for them. So they're after a certain point, they're able to retire and again, touching lives wherever I can.
Well, Sam, I appreciate you being on the show today. Unfortunately, we are out of time. We ran a little over, but that's okay because you had a very compelling story and I wanted to hear it. Rachel, you got big shoes to fill now to be able to get another guest like Sama.
No,
Yeah.
started off saying.
Isn't that cool?
Thank
Isn't that cool? So I want to ask both of you to do me a favor. Once the show is over, go into the comment section, please, and put your contact information in there so everybody knows how to get in touch with you, whether it's looking for social media management and Rachel Wilson, or whether it's just working to be a good human, getting involved in women's empowerment and Sima, or you're looking for a home to buy. She can help with that too. But I want to thank you both for being here. Great show, Rachel,
Thank
for your
you.
first one out. I can't wait to do more. And we'll see everybody back. We've got another show coming up on Thursday. We do these usually twice a week. We did one today, and we'll have another one coming up soon. So thanks everybody for watching, and we will see you again soon.
Thank you.